The problem is chronic lifestyle illnesses. These are the diseases we largely bring on ourselves, and they tend to accumulate as we age. They're expensive to treat and wreaking havoc on the healthcare costs in this country. The prime example is being overweight, often the precursor to obesity and diabetes. It also contributes to heart disease and cardiopulmonary problems. The principal reasons we tend to accumulate these illnesses are our behaviors: eating poor diets, not exercising, or being inactive, sedentary people. Stress and poor sleep habits can also contribute. We all know these things. Personally, I'm about 30 pounds overweight, need to exercise more, and eat fewer fatty foods. I know this. My doctor tells me every year, and yet nothing has changed in my behavior. Somehow, that annual meeting and the numbers are not moving me to act. And I'm just like thousands of others in this regard. So we, as a nation, have these chronic but manageable lifestyle illnesses accumulating as we age. Our doctors explain the problems to us, and we understand. We know what the problems are and how they can be minimized or even resolved. But we tend to continue our habit-based behaviors that have gotten us to where we are today. We need help following through on the recommendations our physicians provide us every year. Psychological research tells us a great deal about persuasion, goal setting, feedback, rewards, reinforcers, encouragement, and commitment. I want to provide people with tools that leverage our psychological strengths to change the habits that are self-defeating and in the end destructive. We need to help people make sense of their past, present, and future, internalizing the consequences that today's behaviors reflect on us tomorrow in a relevant and meaningful manner. For example, research has clearly established that we value losses more than gains. In fact, we value losses about twice as much as we value gains. The critical element in determining losses and gains is our subjective status quo. A gain is a positive change from the status quo, or in my example, a weight loss, progress toward a goal. The same is true of our behaviors. As we change our behaviors, or anything else, we adjust our status quo to reflect the new typical. Teaming efforts of psychology, informatics, and health professions in providing a service that frames short-term goal setting, feedback, and reinforcement in the most effective and productive manner possible would help people change behaviors, form new habits, and discover the benefits of healthier lifestyles. As an app for mobile devices or a website, we could enable life-changing attitude development which might keep us from looking like this. We need health data and the interpretive expertise of health professionals to accurately project the future outcomes of today's behaviors. We need informatics to effectively present these outcomes in meaningful and salient formats. We need applied psychology to frame individuals' problems and needs in terms of future losses, pairing effective reinforcement with behavioral change. My initial ideas for this service include asking some very basic subjective and objective questions about how things are going. Subjective inputs, participant responses, concern behaviors compared to their normal or the status quo. If I was disciplined in the past week and exercised every day, I would rate that very positively. But if I was reckless eating, I would rate that negatively. Objective inputs concern short-term goals, as determined by individual participants. For example, I may have set a goal of losing 5 pounds in a month's time. The service can ensure realistic goal setting and provide an opportunity to commit. Dr. Robert Cialdini says it best: we live up to what we write down. We track progress toward each short-term goal. What is my weight? Am I making progress? Based on my progress, when will I attain my short-term goal? Saving past inputs provides data for projecting trends and body silhouettes. Subjective inputs should predict or relate to the objective measures. To the extent that they do, we can encourage participants to expect the same behaviors to continue producing positive results. As behaviors improve, progress towards goals is achieved, and the status quo for both behavior and results are adjusted psychologically. The key element is providing projected images of what the participant will probably look like in the future if they continue current behaviors. Over the next 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, how will one's body shape change? This imagery will be framed as a loss or gain compared to the current status quo, motivating positive change as a means to avoid losses in health and physical appearance. The idea is to provide an online presence through which individuals regularly check in. People are referred to the service by their physician based on the results of their physical exam and test results. Limited specific personal information will be required at referral. In the beginning, the service will be limited to behaviors and outcomes that can be reasonably evaluated through weight and projected body imaging. Participants report their perception of behavioral progress, eating, exercising, sleeping, and avoiding stress, and measured weight. Based on objective inputs, the weight or any other, the service updates the participant's online data record and estimates a silhouette of the future based on progress or lack thereof. The salient feedback is the projected body image of the future. It says, this is what you will look like in 3 to 6 months if you keep making progress or maintain the status quo. And if changes in lifestyle are not made, you may expect to look like this in 3 years. The impression will communicate the risk of loss in health, motivating those who do not change and supporting and encouraging those who initiate change. Aging Americans need help in battling chronic lifestyle illnesses. It must go beyond being informed by our doctors. We have spent billions educating the public about these lifestyle issues. We need to inspire and motivate realistic goal setting, track progress, provide feedback, support the framing services that help people sustain changes in lifestyle and habits that in turn support improved health, lower healthcare costs, greater longevity, increased productivity, and higher quality of life. This service would place help at people's fingertips, providing them the means to implement real changes in behavior, habits, and their lifestyles. Your reactions, feedback, and thoughts are needed to round out these initial ideas.